The past week, I tried to get creative and started with a basic design for the website, but I found it kind of hard to create illustrations for a 3D design which should include animations and other interactions which are not typical for your normal website. So naturally, I just ditched all of this for now and started getting deeper into three.js. And speaking of three.js, I spent the majority of time continuing to watch the 3.js Journey course from Bruno Simon. I'm still far from finishing this course, I'm not even close to 50% yet, because it's quite elaborate. Nevertheless, it has been a great resource for learning and understanding some core concepts, such as working with cameras, geometry, textures, how to use one of the many possible debug UIs, and much more. With my newly gained knowledge and some tips from the comments, I improved my download website. The last time I couldn't get the sprinkles working in the exported render because I created them using geometry nodes in Blender. After I mentioned this in my last video, someone pointed out that I could use a realize instances node, which should fix my issue, and create new ones as always. Naturally, I immediately opened up Blender, went to the geometry nodes tab, and added the missing node at the end of the node tree. With great anticipation, I exported the render, opened it up in the preview, and saw nothing. Well, so what went wrong? I was stupid. After about 30 minutes of fiddling around, I noticed I was adjusting the wrong node tree the whole time. No wonder nothing was working as I expected. I unpinned the node tree, selected the correct object, added the realize instances node, exported the render again, and as you can see, we got sprinkles. Well, almost how I wanted them. As it turns out, the sprinkles material stopped working. This problem got me really invested and I went straight into tunnel vision. After spending way too much time researching this issue, I at least found an answer to fix it. In short, I needed a different method to generate the random colors for the sprinkles. The more elaborate explanation, I was using the random value generated by the object info node and was feeding it into the color ramp to get a variety of colors. But as the answer to this issue pointed out, as soon as you realize the instances, they are no longer unique objects to Blender. The solution was to generate a random value inside the geometry nodes and use it as an output. I don't understand enough of Blender to actually explain what's going on behind the scenes, so I'm just going to show you what I did. First of all, I added an index, a capture attribute, and a random value node. Then I added the capture attribute before the instance on points node and connected the geometry to points attribute. After that, I used the index as a value and connected that output to the random value node, which finally gave me an output I could use in the shader. There, I only had to replace the object info with an attribute node where I could select the output I just created. All of this just for the issue to only be fixed in Blender. After so much time wasted, I gave up on this for now. Maybe someone out there knows a different method to get this working in the render, but for now I'm just gonna skip it. After I was done getting sidetracked in Blender, I tried to implement the new donut model in my app. The last time I exported the model in the GLB format from Blender, and I switched it up to the GLTF format. Honestly, I don't exactly know what difference it makes. But as for my code, I added a new component file where I wrote the missing lines to import and load the model to the canvas. I just had to fix some small issues with the camera, because it was placed way too far away from the donut. Meanwhile, I also got some more inspiration from my design. While playing around with some examples for materials of the React 3 Dry package, I stumbled across a nice example of a 3D gallery, which looked great, and maybe I'll try to go in a similar direction to display my photographs. All of this also gave me a great idea for a general style I want to go for. It shouldn't be too realistic and have some abstract elements in it. Maybe even look a bit surreal. So with that in mind, I tried to provide Midjourney some visual inspiration of other designs or renders I found. And some of the results it produced looked really great. So I want to try and create something of similar style in Blender from scratch. But before I get hung up in Blender once again, I really want to make some more progress with the 3.js course for now. There is a dedicated lesson for Blender, and before I haven't finished this, I don't want to waste much more time with issues I can probably avoid after I watch this lesson.